Hi, I am Valerie Reviere. I was born in the Virgin Islands, and I had two older sisters and my mom. My mom was pretty much a single parent because my dad always lived somewhere else. 2 months before graduation, my mom passed away, and she died at 55. And I was angry, so I applied for several colleges to go to med school, pre-med programs, and I got accepted into Washington State in two programs, and then in Maine. Um, my sister, who was the eldest of all three of us, she was 9 years older than me, said, "No, you're not going. You're going too far. You have no family. If anything should happen to you, there'll be no one there to help you. And by the way, there's a new nursing program, the first one's getting started here in St. Croix. You should go to that one." And that's how I ended up becoming a nurse. Um, the classmate I met at this program were already done with their prerequisites. So in order to graduate with the first class, I took 20 to 22 credit hours per semester to get done, which I did, and I graduated early. And I went to work at the local hospital for 1 year. This was a med surge floor, like a 48-bed unit. After a year, I moved to Maryland to go to school, and I didn't really like it. The atmosphere was not what I wanted. It seems really homesick. So my boyfriend, who came up to Maryland, we got married in Maryland and moved to Virginia. Then we went back to the Virgin Islands, and um, he went to basic training in the Air Force, and we had a boy, Hubie Jr. And then after he came back from basic training, we were stationed at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska, of course. And this was pretty devastating for me because all I knew of Nebraska was it sounded like Alaska, and I knew it was really cold. And also, I knew that we would watch a TV show called Omaha Wild Kingdom with Marlin Perkins, and I'm sure I'm dating myself by saying that, but I thought, why were they sending us to the Wild Kingdom? They really, uh, really didn't like us. I thought nobody lives here, and after all, I was afraid of animals anyway. Um, I cried. I didn't understand why we were had to go to the Wild Kingdom, and even flying in here, the plane passed over, I think, the Iowa area, and I was like, this is nothing but cornfield. There's nobody who really lives here. And all the practice I have opening the freezer in St. Croix about this is how cold it's going to be. No, it wasn't. It was like being locked in a freezer. Um, during that time, we during our time here in Nebraska, we had two more kids. Hubie Jr. is now 29. He's a former Marine. He still stayed 5 years. One day he called me up and says, I'm getting out because there's nothing left for my rank and my field of specialty except disarming bombs. And I said, well, can't you just disarm bombs for a few months till you get something? And he goes, no, Mom, only stupid people disarm bombs. I don't want to be without a limb. Anyway, he came back home and he now lives, like I said, in West Omaha. And then I had a daughter, Kiana, who was 4 years older than Hubie, but she died in January 2010 while exercising with her recruiter. She was going into the Army. And I now live with DeAndre. He's 16, going to be a senior this year. And he's doing well in school, and he gets good grades and a very, very obedient kid. He is um, planning to go to college after this. I am divorced now since 2005. However, my ex-husband is my best friend, really. We have, I guess, my driving force behind this whole thing is my daughter, Kiana. After she died and after I'm done grieving, I decided that I was going to do something great. So I bought two motorcycles, a two-wheeler and a three-wheeler, and learned to ride. And then I went ahead and went to the College of St. Mary's that my supervisor told me was very accommodating to older people. Um, my my experience at College of St. Mary's have been really good. I I'm able to go to school there. DeAndre's pretty self-sufficient, and he is. I mean, he treats me like I'm 80 years old. He ties my shoelaces, put on my socks, lotion my feet. He makes sure I have my pills, and you know, don't worry coming home. Just stay and do your homework, which actually translates to if you don't come home, I can play Xbox all night. Um, Dad is very involved. He, especially since Kiana died, he gives the boys enough hugs and kisses to demasculate them. um, so in 2012, get my papers straight here. Oh, I'm going to tell you about my work history. I went to the University of Nebraska Med-Surg unit, and I had no experience. I knew of IVs, NGs, rectal tube Foley, and O2, but there they took a lot of farm accidents and any kind of trauma and surgery that you can imagine. And so I had to learn all these strange hemovacs, JPs, and we did major surgeries. I stayed there 10 years, then I moved up the street to the Lutheran Hospital, which was a mile away. They turned it into Medicine, Nebraska Medical Center at Lutheran, they called it. And this was just simple surgeries, telemetries. We took care of some HIV patients, um, and stayed there 4 years, and then they closed it down. So we went back to the main hospital where I worked as a GI nurse in the endoscopy center. In the endoscopy center, we did not only EGDs, colonoscopies, FlexSig, we did liver biopsies, lung biopsies, and returned those patients to the floor. Um, after the 18 months I worked at the endoscopy center, I went over to Clarkson Hospital, which is just literally across the street, and worked on the kidney floor where we took care of dialysis patients and kidney transplants and stuff like that. I worked there 8 years before I became charge nurse of this kidney kidney center, and then they moved all the liver transplant from the med center to the Clarkson side, and that floor became solid organ transplant unit. So after my 8 years there as a nurse, I became charge nurse for another 8, and had we took care of kidney transplants straight from the OR, kidney, pancreas, and pancreas transplants straight from the OR, and we were slowly starting to get some liver transplant, but they were harder to take care of. We got them 12 hours after transplant. During that time, I learned a lot, and they became a step down unit, and not wanting to be left behind, especially since a lot of the nurses had their BSN. I had my um, associate. My manager told me about how great this program was at CSM, and so I went and applied and got accepted and started um, my uh, my bachelor's in 2002. I took 43 credits that year. I literally went one full year, including summer, to graduate in 2013. In 2013, um, before I graduate, they had a service day where we provide service to the community, the students. And I went to Salvation Army, and next to me was a lady by the name of Sarah Cottage. She asked me what I was going to do. I said, well, I'll get my BSN and I'll go back to work. And she said, how about your master's? And I was like, no, that was a long, hard BSN. And she started talking to me, and I said, besides, I can't afford it. I lost my job, and I talked to her later, and she said, well, I can show you how you can afford it. And she wrote some numbers down, showed me how to get financial aid, and then I went to my master's. I graduated last May with my master's, and I um, here I am. I decided to go ahead and apply for a doctorate. I feel like that would be um, it would be a really good thing for me to do. I have since gotten a job at the VA hospital. I work in PICU, not pediatric ICU, but psychiatric intensive care unit. Um, a lot of veterans and active duty with mental illness and substance abuse. It's a great place to work. And so now I'm doing my doctorate. I feel like there is no other place for me but CSM. I've been here so long. I've made so many friends. I'm comfortable with the staff, and the the professors are very competent and knowledgeable. And you know, I would love to publish articles and books and do presentations and um, do some teaching. So I'm looking forward to starting this new journey with you guys. I am not, like I said, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the fastest, but I'm pretty resilient. I've spent many nights alone in the what they call the Achievement Center to get what I need to get done. So hope to see you soon. Looking forward to meeting you on Sunday. Take care, guys. Thank you.